There's a feeling some people recognize instantly, even if they've never talked about it out loud. When plans get canceled, there's no disappointment, no frustration. Instead, there's something quieter, relief. Like a weight just lifted off the chest, like something was avoided at the last second. And if that feeling sounds familiar, it might not mean what people assume it means, because most people would quickly label it as laziness, or being antisocial, or just not liking people. But psychology looks at it differently. Something more subtle is happening underneath. Your brain is constantly learning from experience. Every situation you go through gets recorded as either safe, unsafe, stressful, or comfortable. Over time, it builds a map of the world based on patterns. And if enough outside experiences feel draining, unpredictable, or overwhelming, your brain slowly starts to label one place as the safest option: home. Not just a location, but a comfort zone your nervous system trusts. A place where nothing unexpected happens. And this is where things start to shift quietly. Because every time you avoid something that feels uncomfortable, your brain doesn't just relax, it reinforces the decision. That sense of relief you feel afterward, it becomes a reward signal. So the brain learns something simple but powerful. Staying away reduces stress. And without realizing it, you begin to repeat the pattern. Not because you're weak, but because your brain is optimizing for safety, even if that safety slowly limits your world. In more intense situations, this pattern can develop into something known as agoraphobia. That's when leaving familiar spaces starts to trigger strong fear responses. Not just discomfort, but genuine anxiety about being outside, in crowds, or in places that feel hard to escape. But most people experiencing this pattern are not in that extreme category. They're not clinically diagnosed. They're not fully shut in. They're somewhere in between, still functioning, still aware, but gradually relying more on avoidance than engagement. And modern life makes this even easier. You can study from home, work remotely, shop without stepping outside, socialize without meeting face to face. So the world no longer demands that you leave your comfort zone. And if your mind already prefers what feels safe, there's nothing pushing back against it. No correction. No new experiences to challenge the pattern. Just repetition. But here's the part people often miss. The real issue isn't comfort. It's stagnation of evidence. Because if you stop going out, your brain stops receiving updated information about the outside world. So whatever fear or discomfort you associate with it stays untested. And anything untested tends to grow stronger in your imagination. Not because it's accurate, but because it's unfamiliar. Then something else begins to form quietly in the background. A sense of distance. Not just from places, but from people. Messages go unanswered. Invitations get postponed. Days turn into weeks of, "I'll go next time." And slowly, returning starts to feel harder than staying away ever was. Because now it's not just about going out. It's about re-entering a world that feels slightly out of sync. And the longer this continues, the more layered it becomes. A feeling of being behind, of having missed too much, of needing an explanation that feels too heavy to give. So avoidance starts solving one problem, but creating another. Still, this pattern isn't fixed. It's not a personality trait. It's learned behavior, and learned patterns can be reshaped. One of the most effective ways psychologists describe this process is gradual exposure. Not forcing yourself into overwhelming situations, not dramatic change, but small, manageable steps that gently reintroduce contact with the outside world. A short walk, a quick errand, a brief conversation. Small enough to feel safe, but meaningful enough to challenge the old prediction. Because real change doesn't happen when fear disappears. It happens when fear shows up, and nothing bad follows. Repeated enough times, the brain starts updating its assumptions, and what once felt threatening slowly becomes ordinary again. And if you're thinking about someone you know who seems to be pulling away, There's something important to understand. Pressure usually doesn't help. Neither does shame. Because they're not avoiding life out of carelessness. They're often avoiding it because it feels like too much to handle right now. What tends to help more is consistency without pressure. Simple check-ins, low expectation connection, presence that doesn't disappear when responses slow down. At its core, this isn't about being weak or broken. It's about a brain trying to reduce discomfort the only way it knows how, by shrinking the space where discomfort can happen. So the real question isn't, why don't they just go outside? It's, what experience made the outside feel harder to face than staying in? And just as importantly, what would make it feel safe enough to step back into again? Because the goal isn't forcing change, it's rebuilding trust slowly. With environments, with people, and with your own ability to handle what's outside your comfort zone. And maybe the most important thing to remember is this: that relief you feel when plans get canceled isn't a destination. It's just information, and information can change over time.